Welcome back to my channel. For tonight's scary story, we're back in the hospital again. A while ago I shared a very popular story about a boy who heard scratching sounds from inside his hospital room at night. It was one of our most watched stories of all time, and since many of you wanted more stories like that, I'm here to oblige. So if you're ready for another terrifying tale set within the four walls of a hospital, then let's begin. The city of B was famous for its medical college, which was visited by patients from all over the world. Many students and interns would come to this college to learn under the guidance of some of the best doctors. But sometimes these students would take things into their own hands and carry out certain tests on the patients without informing the doctors. One day, two interns decided to conduct an experiment on a patient who was in a coma. They wanted to check if the patient could hear them or feel pain. So they started poking the patient all over his body and were surprised when the patient suddenly got up and looked at them. They immediately informed the doctors about what had happened. But by the time they came to the patient's room, he had already slipped back into his coma. All the doctors were baffled and carried out every test imaginable to figure out why the patient had woken up. Nothing could explain it. They concluded that it must have been the power of suggestion and decided to leave the matter right there. However, the patient was moved to a different room, and those two interns never worked the night shift again. A few weeks passed, and one night the same two interns were working the night shift. Suddenly, the senior doctor on duty informed them that a patient from room 37 had reported hearing voices and asked them to go check on him. As soon as they entered the room, they saw that the patient was wide awake and sitting on the edge of his bed. He told them that he kept hearing strange voices coming from the wall next to his bed and wanted them to investigate, though the interns were scared to go near the wall. They didn't want to disappoint the patient, so they knocked on the wall and asked whoever was there to come out. Suddenly, the wall started to shake, and they heard footsteps coming from behind it. Just as they were about to run out of the room, they saw a pair of eyes staring at them from behind the wall. They screamed and ran out of the room, locking it from the outside. After that, no one dared to enter that room until the morning. When the sun rose and the new shift took over, they found that the patient was missing and the entire wall was broken. They searched the hospital but couldn't find the patient anywhere. Some said that he had escaped, but others believed that he had gone through the wall. Either way, no one knew what had happened to him. After a few days, when the police came to investigate, they also found a hole in the wall and some strange symbols carved on the floor. But apart from that, they found no trace of the patient. The story ended right there, and no one ever spoke of it again. That is, until one night when the two interns were working the night shift once again. As soon as they entered the hospital, they saw the same patient standing at the entrance. He was no longer weak and emaciated, and instead looked healthy and strong. He told the interns that he was grateful to them for helping him escape and asked them to meet him at the same spot the following night. Although the interns were scared, they agreed to meet him. That night they brought some food and water with them and waited for the patient. As soon as he appeared, he thanked them again and told them that he had made a small hole in the wall using a spoon. He said that the doctors had given up on treating him because his condition was so critical, but he didn't want to die. So he used a spoon to make a hole and crawl out. He told the interns that he had seen the fear in their eyes and wanted to thank them for it because it gave him the strength to keep going. Then he disappeared again, leaving the interns shocked and scared. This continued for a few days until one night they found the same patient hanging in the hospital's basement. There was a note hanging around his neck that read, "Thank you," and the interns were blamed for his death. They were fired from the hospital, and to this day no one knows what really happened to that patient. That was the end of the scary story. Now it's time for our ritual. In the spirit of the story, I challenge you to do something. Now turn off the lights and turn on your earphones. Listen carefully. Can you hear scratching sounds? If you can, then open the comment section and write "I can hear it" so that others know. Also, don't forget to share your experience with us in the comments below. If you enjoyed this scary story, then be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. And if you want to listen to more stories like this, then click on the video on screen. Thank you for watching, and happy Halloween.